What's up? How's everyone doing? I hope you're well. We're gonna be doing some just like chatting about Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons, because let's be real, there's always stuff to talk about, on top of the fact that kind of feeling like low energy today, so I didn't really want to like play games because I would be either uninterested or, you know, triggered. So I was like, all right, let's just take it down a notch. Why is it so freaking loud? I feel like my audio is not right. I guess we'll just change it to system. Yeah, I'm dropping the level. It's not dropping the audio level at all. All right, whatever. I don't know how to mess with that, and nor do I care anymore. Maybe if we do that. Now there's no sound. Awesome. This is so dumb. Oh man, let's just set it to default, I guess. Well, let's just mess with this because that's fun. output should be able to set to be to, what is it? Advanced sound options. There we go. Output should be able to be set to broadcast stream mix. That's actually what I want for everything. So that's perfect. So let's see if it will stop being a butthole. Yeah. No. There we go. Now you can hear me. And you can hear the music. And I can change the volume of it. Look at that. Wonderful. We figured it out. We're here. So basically my goal today is just to, once again, oh, my dog's cute, talk about just, you know, classes and stuff. I might go into Artificer because Artificer's fun. But I don't know. Could do Blood Hunter. Granted, like, I don't think there's a subclass for Blood Hunter. I think it's just a straight class. Are there subclasses? Oh, there's different orders. Okay. I know nothing. I will look back at that later. Because I think we've already talked about bards, clerics, paladins, rogues, rangers, warlocks, wizards, and sorcerers. I don't think we've gone through artificers. Alchemist, armor, artillery, batsmith. Yeah, because I think all of these were like specially brought in, made official by Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Artificers in many worlds. So I'm interested to see exactly. Can I click on that thing? There we go. Oh. So it's artificers or not. That's one thing I've heard, you know, some folks say is they don't like artificers because they're not meant for D&D. You know, they're not meant for, you know, the Forgotten Realms. When in reality, they actually are. Because as you can see here, I'm done with this song. I like that. That's chill. But yeah, so I think one of my favorite things, and actually I'm going to minimize, or not minimize, just make this not take up my entire screen because I love this background. It's animated and pretty. I also want to not cover that up, so put it right here because these are cool. But it is kind of hard to see what they say right here. If I've got stuff running over them, but if I go wham, look at that. Beautiful. All right, so here in the world, fix my hat. So we have artificers. Masters of invention, artificers use ingenuity and magic to unlock extraordinary capabilities and objects. They see magic as a complex system waiting to be decoded and then harnessed in their spells and inventions. Waiting to be coded and then harnessed. Oh my gosh. You can find everything you need to play one of these inventors in the next few sections. Artificers use a variety of tools to channel their arcane power to cast a spell. An artificer might use alchemist supplies to create a potent elixir, calligrapher's supplies to inscribe a sigil of power, or tinkerers tools to craft a temporary charm. The magic of Artificer is tied to their tools and their talents, and few other characters can produce the right tool for a job as well as an Artificer. And I think that's my favorite part about Artificers. Having played, I played a pre-official release Alchemist, and it was a lot of fun. It was the Unearthed Arcana rules, and I don't think they're much different. In fact, I think they're a little more bolstered compared to what they were. That was what I found, is that I couldn't damage as well as anyone else, or better than anybody else, or on top tier with anybody else. I couldn't heal on par with the best healers. I couldn't, sneak or pick locks as well as a rogue, but I could do a little bit of everything. They're kind of like, I think they're a little bit like what rogues were always meant to be, or bards, because they have the jack of all trades feature. I'm also going to turn this down because as much as I like it, it's kind of overwhelming me. There we go. Can't hear myself think. But I think that, like that they said, few other characters can produce the right tool for a job as well as an Artificer. Now, there are times when I just rolled really well and did crazy good damage, or rolled really well and healed someone a bunch, but I was limited more so than most classes on everything, but I could do a little bit of everything, which is something that's really fun, to be able to kind of like help people where they need it. Because, like, if you are, a barbarian, and somebody says, hey, open this door, it's a really, really strong door that can't be broken, then as a barbarian, what are you supposed to do? You just go, okay, I'll watch. And if they ask me to hit it hard or run into it, I will. Whereas an Artificer is like, well, I don't really know how to do locks, but I could create an acid that would break down some of the mechanical parts of that would help it be, easier to open, or something like that. Or maybe I could create, something that would, cast the knock spell, or I can make a mechanical key that, fits into, locks to a certain level and helps to give you advantage on your check to unlock this thing or pick it. Oh man, getting a text from my dude. But anyway, yeah, I like them because of their flexibility. Jack of all trades, master of none. But the cool thing is the subclasses do allow you to be a little more focused, where alchemists are going to be much better at dealing with poisons and healing than an armorer will be, but the armorer can still do it a little bit. An armorer is going to be wonderful at creating, mechanical, magically infused pieces of armor that will help protect and give utility and function. Artillerists can do damage. Battlesmiths get like a companion, and so I think that they all kind of play their role, but they all have the artificer baseline, which gives you that flexibility. Definitely one of my favorite classes, like top 5 for sure. So throughout the D&D multiverse, artificers create inventions and magic items in of peace and war. Many lives have been brightened or saved because of the work of kind artificers, but countless lives have also been lost because of the mass destruction unleashed by certain artificers' creations. In the Forgotten Realms, the island of Lanton is home to many artificers, and in the world of Dragonlance, Tinker Gnomes are often members of this class. The strange technologies and the barrier peaks of the world of Greyhawk have inspired some folk to walk the path of the Artificer, and in Mystara, various nations employ artificers to keep airships and other wondrous devices operational. Artificers in the City of Sigil share discoveries throughout the multiverse And from there, the gnome artificer Vi runs a cosmos spanning business that hires adventurers to fix problems that others deem unfixable. In Vi's homeworld, Eberron, magic is harnessed as a form of science and deployed throughout society, largely a result of the wondrous ingenuity of artificers. So people usually focus on Eberron because Eberron is, by its very nature, a more powerful setting. It's kind of like 4E to 5E. Everybody was just a superhero, And here that is true, but we're not Superman. We're, that other random guy. We're not I don't know, better to go to Marvel. I'm not Iron Man, I'm Tigra. I don't know. Either way, point is, I don't like this song. I'm also trying to get one of my oldest groups of D&D guys back together after we played a couple times in 2020, but trying to get something consistent with those goons because I love playing with them and I miss them. So obviously socially distanced playing online. But anyway, so people usually focus on Eberron as the place where artificers are more well suited for. But I really do believe, and this is something that, other people won't agree with me on, and that's totally fine, that artificers have a place in any setting, as long as you can appropriate it. And like they said, there's reference points for artificers existing in pretty much any setting. Obviously in Eberron, they'd be much more common, but anyway, creating artificer, consult the following subsections which give you hit points, proficiencies, blah blah blah. So first you want to have intelligence. Obviously intelligence, they are just like blacksmithing wizards, kind of magic blacksmithing wizards, followed by constitution or dexterity. I would probably prioritize constitution just because I don't want to die. And most of my attacks are going to be based on my intelligence because spellcasting. And then I would prioritize strength or dexterity third as a dump stat. So let's talk about the class. So you get 1d8, which is pretty on par with most classes that are like this. It's, kind of like a sorcerer or a warlock. I guess sorcerers have a d6. So it's more like a warlock in that way. Or a ranger, a partial caster, but this is mostly a full caster. So in that way, it's pretty good. And then they get light armor, medium armor, and shields, which makes total sense. And obviously, if there's a subclass that requires more than that, then it gives you proficiencies when you take that subclass. Simple weapons makes sense. They don't need more than that. And if they do, they have to take a feat or, spend time in game learning that. Makes sense. These tools, Tinkerer's tools, and one type of artisan's tool. Now, this is cool because I think that it gives you... I like the idea that there's choices. I love that mechanic they've been introducing where it's like, okay, yeah, you don't have this many spell slots. It's kind of like giving everybody the flexibility to be a sorcerer and have sorcery points with flexible casting. Allowing people to, expend a different type of pool to refill another pool. So obviously you're still giving something up, like once I've gotten rid of all my spell slots or I've used this ability the 2 times per day I can use it or whatever it is, then I can, I can give up a spell slot or I can, take a level of exhaustion. I just like the idea that there are alternative ways to gain the use of different features, because in one way or another, you always see a hero or somebody who's trying to persevere pulling from pools to get, pulling from things they didn't know they had to replenish what they need in that moment. So I think it makes a lot of sense. They're drawing from something different, which is neat. They choose 2 from Arcana History, Investigation, Nature, Perception, and Sleight of Hand, which makes total sense. You can be like a thievy, alchemist who is proficient with thieves tools and sleight of hand and perception. So you're just like an actual, like, you know, cyber tech, you know, magic thief, which is kind of cool. You know, you play a race that kind of matches that. You play like a changeling or something. Pretty dope. The secrets of gunpowder weapons have been discovered in various corners of the D&D multiverse. If your dungeon master used the rules of firearms and the dungeon master, your artificer has been exposed to the operation of such weapons, your artificer is proficient with them. So this is another one where it gives choice, and I do enjoy that. Now, a lot of the things in Tasha, specifically relating to race, are optional rules that I would be hard-pressed to allow in my games, partially because I've given opportunities for players to, you know, are you a dumb orc? Cool. You want to be smarter? Read books. Spend time each day studying. And so then you would make checks to eventually help work your score up. Or do you want to find an Ioun Stone or find a headband of intellect? You know, there's ways to increase statistics and change, you know, the perceptions. I have a buddy who's playing longtime campaign where he is an owlbear life cleric. Sorry, not owlbear. Oh my gosh. Is he an owlbear? Bugbear life cleric. And so like he like just went with an aesthetic. He didn't care about the stats, and he's awesome. Now granted, I overpower my characters and I allow them a lot of freedom to choose things, but like I think it's interesting to implore a way to allow dungeon masters to let it in a way that mechanically won't screw up your game. But I also think that it takes very little effort and time to allow them the agency to choose that for themselves. You want to learn some new languages? Go find some books and study them. That's how it works. That's how people learn languages. Or they spend time living in a place where people speak that language, you know, and learn how to do it that way. But either way, point is, I do enjoy the idea of agency and choice. So I'm never going to say, you know, that's stupid. I'm going to say, I may not use that at my table, but it doesn't mean that it's not very interesting to allow that agency and choice. So I really like the idea that it's, oh, are there guns there? Cool. If there are, you're proficient with them. Makes sense. So you can choose any 2 simple weapons, which if you're proficient and you allow guns, could be, you know, pistols, a light crossbow, studded leather scale mail, thieves tools, and a dungeoneer's pack. So this is one of the ones where it gives you, I guess most of them will offer a set of tools and or a pack, which is still pretty awesome. See, even this one right here is kind of like your druid craft, your prestidigitation. First level, you learn how to invest a spark of magic into mundane objects. To use this ability, you must have thieves' tools or artisan's tools in hand. You touch a tiny non-magical object as an action to give it one of the following magical properties of your choice. Sheds bright light in a 5-foot radius and dim light for an additional 5 feet. Whenever tapped by a creature, the object emits a recorded message that can be heard up to 10 feet away. You utter the message and then bestow this property upon the object, and recording can be no more than 6 seconds long. The object continuously emits your choice of an odor or non-verbal sound, wind, waves, chirping, or the like. The chosen phenomenon is perceivable up to 10 feet away. The static visual effects appears on one of the object's surfaces. This can be a picture, up to 25 words of text, lines, and shapes, or a mixture of the elements as you like. So the chosen property lasts indefinitely. As an action, you can touch the object and end the property early. You can bestow magic on multiple objects, touching one object each time you use this feature, though a single object can bear only one property at a time. The maximum number of objects you get effects with this feature equal your intelligence modifier, a minimum of 1. If you try to exceed the maximum, the oldest property immediately ends and a new property applies. So it's not busted in the fact that none of these really do anything aside from give utility. I can think of like immediately what it brought to my mind, you know, is like players have to seek out this person, right? And this person is known to be an artificer, right? And all they have is like a riddle or a set of clues, you know, that are pretty like cryptic, you know, like you know, like I don't know, I just like, I like the idea that at some point, right? So right here, continuously emits a choice of over or a nonverbal sound, right? So you have two objects in the same place, and at one point, you know, like you lead them through these things, and it's like, when you reach the biggest tree, the tallest tree in the forest, smell the wind for bread, right? There shouldn't be wind in the depths of a massive forest, right? But this can create wind. So when they get close enough, they will get the wind and the scent of bread. So you can have two objects creating this to try and, like, I don't know. I just like the idea of leaving a breadcrumb trail through this little feature, you know, that leads you to his or her secret hideout, where he is waiting for them to, you know, continue the story and give the characters whatever they need. Something really fun like that just immediately sparks in my head, because that's just cool aesthetic stuff. Even in one of those games I left, if you die, I know if you die, the properties end, right? And in one of the campaigns I was playing probably about a year and a half ago, maybe just over a year ago, we ended and our characters went off to do their own things, right? After this arc that we had played, and my character, who's like a level 8 artificer, he's an alchemist, he left them you know, a thing, each one of them with an object that would play a message for them, for that character. But he asked them not to listen to it until he was gone. And he was like, and you'll know if I'm still on this plane, I'm not dead, if you can still listen to it. But if you try to listen to it at some point and it doesn't work, you'll know that I'm gone. And so I thought it was a really, really sweet thing to do, to be able to just leave this, you know, message for your friends. You know, a tiny little message machine. Either way, aesthetically, I love it. It is permanent for sure, but it is contingent on death and a limit of, you know, the amount of things that can hold a thing. One of these effects. So I still think that it's very, very cool. Not busted, just interesting. So you've studied the workings of magic and how it channels through objects. As a result, you've gained the ability to cast spells. To observers, you don't appear to be casting spells in a conventional way. You look as if you're producing wonders using mundane items or outlandish inventions. I think that this is awesome. The aesthetic of creating more messages. I'm so cool. Tools required. You produce your artificer spells through your tools. You must have a spellcasting focus, specifically thieves' tools or some kind of artisan's tools, in hand when you cast any spell with the spellcasting feature, meaning the spell is an M component when you cast it. You must be proficient. You must be proficient with the tool to use it in this way. Makes sense, I believe. Okay, but yeah, so after you gain the infused item feature at level 2, you can also use any item bearing one of your infusions as a spellcasting focus. So that kind of leads into more stuff. So cantrips, 0 level spells. Thank you for starting to call them that, because that's what they always were. At first level, you know 2 cantrips you were choice from a spell list, and actually I'm kind of interested to see what their spell list looks like. So for Artificer, let's just look at cantrips. So, I mean, they have a lot of it. It seems like mostly a wizard. Magic stone. Druid, warlock, and artificer. So some of them are, you know, cross class stuff. They don't have a massive list. That's one thing I will recognize, is that the list for them is not very big. So they share with druids, warlocks, wizards, and sorcerers, I believe. But either way, they do make sense. All of them, you know, they seem to make sense. And you've got Booming Blade, you've got Lightning Lure, so you have a lot of the blade spells and stuff like that too. Yeah, I dig it. I like it. I think it makes a lot of sense. Preparing your casting spells. So you must expend blah blah blah. Intelligence modifier plus half your level rounded down. Okay, so you can change your list of prepared spells. Requires 1 minute per spell level. So you just, at the beginning of each of your days, you can swap out spells, which is really neat. I always liked that feature. I think I was sad that wizards, you know, couldn't do it. You know, sorcerers felt limited. But it made sense, because sorcerers, it's like inherent. It's a feeling, you know, you go with something and then you learn to do it. So learning to change that requires something big, like a power up, like a level up, or like a class shift or something. And with wizards, though, they just prepare from their spellbook. They choose which ones they're preparing. And people like druids and clerics and stuff have access to that spell because of their connection to their deity or nature or belief or whatever. Paladins too as well, I believe. And so they all make sense as far as how they work like that. I was always frustrated because I was like, I'm a star sorcerer, I should be able to do anything. But yeah, anyway, it's fine. Spellcasting ability is fine. Intelligence makes sense. Ritual casting, I love that they have the ritual tag for this class, because I believe clerics, wizards, and artificers are the only ones that get it at a base level, I think. But this is the big one to me. You gain the ability to imbue mundane items with magical infusions. Magical infusions are very important to artificers and a base level feature. A baseline feature that is super important to creating an effective artificer, I believe. The magic items you create with the feature are effectively prototypes of permanent items. So the idea is that artificers create prototypes that eventually then become, they understand so well how to infuse the magic into them that they're able to create something like the Wand of Wonders. They're able to create something like the Staff of Power. They're able to create, you know, Boots of Swiftness, or, you know, any number, the Cloak of the Displacer Beast, you know, but it takes time and effort and testing and work as an artificer to work on those things to make sure that they are able to be transferred permanently. Otherwise they're unstable, you know. So when you pick this feature, pick 4 infusions to use. Section at the end. So we're gonna look at our infusions. So some of them do have prerequisites, so that is good. So you can't just like straight up start with an arcane propulsion armor, which basically makes you a magic Iron Man. That is not a thing you can do until later levels. But yeah, so these things really awesome, honestly. Really, really, really cool. And the Soul of Artifice. I want to play a level 20 Artificer because I think that the Soul of the Artifice makes them unbelievably strong. Oh, hi, Dado. What's the average travel speed of a D&D nerd? Because we read or rolling dice. We don't really move that much. Also, for some reason, my sound alerts aren't on this new setup, so I'll have to mess with that. We ain't moving very much. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's not what I meant to do. I'm home, by the way. I'm glad you're home, LR. What's up, buddy? You can hang out with us and talk about artificers. We're talking about artificers. I'm trying to get this junk to move real fast. Let me. All right. Up. There we go. Beep. No, I'm not a fucking nerd. Yes, you are. Hey, moving on to better things, my dude. Okay. Cool. So we're talking about this. Artificial infusions. Yeah, 100%. Oh, he's a geek, not a nerd. Okay. I mean, I'm a nerd. And a geek. It doesn't matter. Geeks and nerds, that's just synonymous. That's like saying breathing and inhaling are different. They are different, but not. Geek and nerd are the same thing. Artificial infusions are really, really cool. The arcane propulsion armor is I'm pretty sure that's what Magdor's working towards in our stream campaign. Walking speed increases by 5 feet. He'll be able to walk at a normal speed. Gauntlets, each of which is a magic melee weapon. Proficient with the gauntlets, deals 1d8 force damage and has the thrown property. That's cool. Feasibly, he could use his gauntlets to shoot out and then holding his hammer smack somebody and then return. Well, I can neither confirm nor deny those things, but I don't think that nerds and geeks are different. The armor can't be moved against the wearer's will, which is cool. If the wearer is missing any limbs, the arm places those limbs, hands, arms, feet, or similar appendages that replaces the function identically to the body parts they replace. So this Saturday. Armor of magical strength, 6 charges. Can expend a charge to add a bonus to the roll equal to their intelligence modifier. They would be knocked prone. They can use a reaction to expend a charge to not be knocked prone. Regains 1d6. Okay. Boots of the Winding Path. Teleport up to 15 feet as a bonus action to an unoccupied space that the creature can see. Must have occupied that space during some point during the current turn. I think this is interesting. It allows you to kind of like hop back. Like run. Hi-ya! Yes, I can swing 10 a.m. 1000%. Just remind me closer to the day. Be like, yo, you ready to go? And I'll say, yeah. Enhanced Arcane Focus, Rod Staff or Wand. +1 to bonus spell attack rolls. In addition, it ignores half cover when making an attack. Bonus increases to +2 when you reach 10, which is awesome. So +1 bonus to spell attack rolls, not to spell save DC, which is interesting. Enhanced defense, +1 to armor class, +2 at level 10. Enhanced weapon, +1 to damage rolls, +2 when you reach level 10. Helm of advantage on initiative rolls, and they can't be surprised provided they're not incapacitated. Awesome. Homunculus Servant. This is something that I love. I love the idea. I can only electro swing. I love the idea of having. I had a homunculus in the campaign where I played an artificer, and he was awesome. His name was Mert. And just think like a tiny mechanical Groot. It's just like, you know, foot tall, just kind of hung out on my shoulder and helped me make things. Also, he can, you know, act in combat and stuff like that. I was since I was an artificer or an alchemist, I was able to like build in little compartments on him to like, you know, attack enemies with acids, or, you know, give allies, you know, potions and stuff like that too, which was really fun. Oh, there you go. Delivers this. Yeah, because they, just like a familiar, they can deliver a spell that you cast that has range of touch. Were you a full metal alchemist? No, I was a mixed medium alchemist. Mind sharpener. Jolt, 4 charges, fails a con saving throw, maintain concentration. The work can use reaction to expend one of the item's charges to succeed instead. That's awesome. Now they did add a lot of infusions. They added a lot of new. No, it would not. No. The idea is going to be to maybe. Let's see what the internet says. Does enhance weapons stack with already magic weapons? Subset of artificer. Since the +3 weapon is already magical, it isn't eligible for an upgrade. Okay, so that's one of the prerequisites of it. Yeah, computer says no. Are you good? I think he's there with you, is he? Okay. So one of the prerequisites is that it has to be a non-magical item previous to that. So, no. Which I think is a smart thing to do, because the idea is you're creating, you know... Can you put more than one infusion on a single item? Okay. Yeah, rapidly turns a non-magical item into a magic item. So if it's already magical, it's not eligible for you know, becoming an infused item. Interesting. But I love this Mind Sharpener. So they added a bunch of these things, like a bunch of new infusions since I last played. So Radiant Weapon, simpler martial weapon, +1 to attack and damage, while they can bonus action to shed bright light. It can also extinguish the light as bonus action. It has 4 charges. Can expend 1 charge to cause the attacker to be... After being hit by an attack, they can... Interesting. So they have to succeed against a con saving. If they hit you, you go, wah! And then it blows up, and they have to make a con saving throw against your spell save DC or be blinded, which is really awesome. That's really cool. Repeating shot makes a lot of sense. Ignores the loading property, so you can put repeating shot, you know, on a heavy crossbow and just allow a fighter to just freaking go to town without taking the crossbow exfreed or something like that. If you load no ammunition, it produces its own, which is awesome. Replicate magic item. You can replicate a particular magic item, which is cool, I think. You can make these things, and the higher level you go, the more interesting things you can make. You can eventually make a ring of protection. Cloak of the Bat, super dope. Dimensional shackles, gem of seeing, gives you true sight. Belt of hill giant strength, super dope. Yeah, this is a replication of existing magic items. So the higher you are as an artificer, if you want to choose to replicate a magic item based on your level as an artificer, you can make higher tiers of things. If you don't have ammo loaded. So if you load no ammunition, it produces its own. Automatically creating a piece of magic ammunition when you make a ranged attack. The ammunition created by the weapon vanishes the instant after it hits or misses a target. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. You no longer have to worry about ammunition. You ignore the loading property, and it gets a boost to damage and hits. Yep, it disappears when it hits or misses. It's pretty awesome. I know, right? I was thinking like the whole like block of ice suicide thing, you know, like, or something like that, where it's like, the block or the icicle weapon, you know, it's like I stabbed someone with an icicle. No one can prove what happened because the icicle melted, you know, that sort of thing. Absolutely. I think a rogue would really like it. But the beauty is that you can make, you know, a dex-based, you know, alchemist or an artillerist that is, you know, harshly pushed into the idea of being stealthy. You just have to take a background that makes sense, like a spy, or take a class that has some inherent bonuses to those things, like a changeling. A lot of flexibility for sure. Repulsion shield, +1 armor class, so it's a +3 shield effectively. While holding, the wielder can use his reaction immediately after being hit by a melee attack to expend a shield charge to push the attacker 15 feet away. pretty awesome. Yeah, or a lunatic. I mean, you can say that on pretty much all these things. Resistant armor. You can choose a following type of resistance to give it. So it's like, oh, we're gonna go fight a white dragon. So I'm gonna give you cold resistance on your armor. Returning weapon. Awesome. +1 to damage, and it returns to the wielder's hand after being made to make a melee or make a ranged attack. So it has to be a simpler martial weapon with the thrown property. It's important to note it does not give it the thrown property. It gives thrown weapons the ability to return after being thrown. So you give it to a dagger. You could, I don't know. There's other things. Anyway, then we have the spell refueling ring. Creature can recover an expended spell slot as an action. The recover spell slot can be of 3rd level or lower. Easy. Super useful. Xena the Warrior Princess. There you go. But I think this is really awesome for someone who's playing a class like a Warlock. If a Warlock, who only has like 3-4 spell slots, because, I mean, to be fair, Warlocks also have invocations, which make their cantrips very powerful and super flexible. Yeah, absolutely. Or Thor. That's kind of who immediately comes to mind with me. But this is great for them because it allows them also spell slots on a short rest come back. Truth. They do come back, but sometimes taking an hour-long rest is not possible. So something like the spell refueling ring would be massively useful. Wonder Woman? She has an attack that comes back. Rod of the Pact Keeper. Warlocks are very much advanced. Yes, they are 100% an advanced class to play. Or Diadem? Oh, yeah. Whatever. Either way, those are magical sort of things that do the same thing that this infusion gives. It is cool. Then we have specialists. So just like in Bloodhunter, they have the orders. This one we have specialists. Just like in Wizards, we have a subclass. They're all subclasses, but these subclasses are called specialists. I myself played an alchemist level 8, which was a lot of fun. So alchemist is an expert at combining reagents to produce mystical effects. Alchemists use their creations, down with you, to give life and to leech it away. Alchemy is the oldest of artificer traditions, and its versatility has been valued during times of war and peace. So you gain the alchemist feature and you get proficiency with alchemist supplies. If you're already proficient, because that is an artisan's tool, I believe, you gain proficiency with another tool of type of artisan's tool. So if you're like, I'm gonna be an alchemist, then you can choose that as your artisan supply at level 1, your artisan tools that you want to be proficient with. And then if you choose it again, you get the flexibility once again, not to just overlap, but to add a different type, which makes a lot of sense because once again, those artisan's tools can all be used as a spellcasting focus for your alchemist or basic artificer spells. Alchemist spells, so it adds some things. You good? There? You're not good? What's wrong? Hey, Phoenix, come here. Come here. Hey, come here. Lay down for like an hour. Calm down. You give him a chicken stick? And he ate it and proceeded to mess with you? Well, I might have to take a little break to mess with this guy a little bit, but we'll talk through Alchemist first at least. What's up, OGM? Hi, Weta. How you doing, buddy? Oh, I figured OGM was official was you. I figured. I'm happy to see you, man. We're just talking. We're talking about artificers in D&D. We've already talked about the basic stuff about them, and we're working into the specialists, aka the subclasses. So the spells that they kind of gain in here are like additive spells that are not included on the other artificers spell lists. So these are specific spells that only alchemist artificers can learn. So an artillerist, an armor battlesmith wouldn't be able to have access to these. And kind of speaks to the aesthetic of the class, you know? Just finished streaming. Nice! League of Legends? Maybe? Either way, so we talked about how they can give life, they can take life, so that's kind of in the idea of poisons and healing. Osu? I'm not sure what that is, but I'm sure it was fun. But yeah, so we have Ray of Sickness, which is a necromancy thing that deals poison damage. Healing Word. Oh, yeah. I remember that. We have Flaming Spear, Melf's Acid Arrow, Gaseous Swarm, Mass Healing Word, Blight, Death Ward, Cloud Kill, and Raise Dead. So eventually an alchemist can literally raise someone from the dead, which is pretty awesome. They have to, I mean, it's kind of a limited necromancy or raise dead spell. Give me 1 second. We have a dog. Look at him. Look at this dog. Look at this dog. I'll let mom work. You on that toy. I'm gonna talk to these people about nerdy stuff. All right. No. Hey. Uber, come here. Stay in here. Stay in here, goofball. Dog is just getting more and more energetic by the day. But anyway, so let's move on. They have specific spells that are related to being an alchemist that allow them to do things that are very alchemy-ish, which is great. I love their expanded spell list is what they used to call them. Now they just say, you know, alchemist spells or, you know, whatever the subclass is. But the beauty is that they usually give access to spells that are not a part of that class's spell list in general. So Healing Word is a like a cleric, paladin, ranger spell, I believe normally. Let's see. Cleric, bard, druid, and alchemist. Okay. Hey, stop. Wait. But now alchemists can get it. Anyway, experimental elixir. This is cool. This is something new to me because I had some of these. I think I had 3 or 4, but not all of them. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can magically produce an experimental elixir in an empty flask you touch. Flask being a tankard. Roll on the experimental table for the elixir's effect, which is triggered when someone drinks the elixir. As an action, the creature can drink the elixir or administer it to an incapacitated creature. See, this is one of those things where I differ with the rules of the game in general. I love the idea of it taking your full action, most of your work during a round of combat, to administer it to an incapacitated character. It does not, however, make the same amount of sense for me to do that, for it to take that long for me to do that for myself. As a person helping an incapacitated person drink an elixir takes a lot more effort than me going bloop, bloop, done. So for my games, it takes a bonus action to take a potion to yourself and an action to administer it to another person, whether or not they're incapacitated or not. Because either way, the idea is that you're probably helping them drink and whatever. So yeah, you create by expending a spell slot of 1st level or higher, which is good. It forces you to expend some magic to do this. Your action to create the elixir in an empty flask. You choose the elixir's effect from the table. So when you finish a long rest, you can create one, but you don't have control, which is interesting. Tenolins. Hi, buddy. I will hydrate. Thank you, Anime. What's up? I'm glad you're both here. Thanks for the follow. Oh my gosh. I don't know why my notifications didn't go off. Elizabeth and OGM, thank you so much for the follows, which I think is as it should be. I agree, buddy. 100%. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing, Goop? Where's your toy? Did you push it under the table? Hey, no. 1 second, y'all. I'm sorry, my dog is being a nut. Hey. Ugh. Why don't you chew on this? My dog's a goofball. He's a goofball. Okay. So, anyway, I think once you reach a certain level, how did I get myself into a session with you? Well, we can figure that out, Wiz, if you want to do some stuff. Phoenix, did you seriously do it again? Hey, stop pushing. He keeps pushing his toy underneath the couch. Like a goofball. There he goes. Just chew on it. Have fun with it, but don't push it under the couch. Right? I would love to run a game for you guys. We just got to figure out a date and time. Because I played a game on Saturday mornings with LR, where he DMs. I run a game Wednesday nights. I run another game every other Sunday that I'm not playing in another game on the other Sundays, which is another game. But I would very much love to run a game for you all. It would just have to be not a weekly game. But yeah, this is really cool. This is something they changed since I played it when it was under Arcana, where whenever you finish a long rest, you get to choose to create a random thing. Now, you don't get to control what that is, but then at higher levels, you can create them by expending a spell slot, and you choose the effect at that point. And I like the effect that maybe that's like... This dog's a nut, man. You can choose that later on. The idea that sleeping gives you kind of like an inherent baseline, like magical energy extra. It's like I slept, so I have little magic. Let's just make a random thing, which is pretty fun. Wiz, you at work? Oh, Wiz, are you at work? I love it. But yes, thank you so much, OGM and Elizabeth, for the follows. I appreciate that. I'm sorry that I didn't respond faster. I need to get better about that. I've been a little out of practice. Anyway, so the effects that you can create. So it looks like you have to have alchemist supplies. Last until it's drunk or until the end of your next long rest. So that's important to note, is that they don't last longer than a day, which is really important to note, because that could be overpowered. Otherwise, you just like create a giant nest of massive, just all these alchemist supplies, just a bunch of different. It's like, oh, you need healing potions? I made 15 of those yesterday. You know, like they go bad after a day. Anyway, healing 2d4 plus intelligence. Swift walking speed increases by 10 feet for an hour. Resilience +1 to AC for 10 minutes. Boldness, they can roll a d4 and add it to the number rolled to every attack roll or saving throw for next minute. The drinker gains a flying speed of 10 for 10 minutes, and the drinker's body a transformation to alt. It's by the altar self. Ooh, what are you chewing on? Where's your thing at? There you go. Get it. I think this is really cool. This is super dope. I like the nerfs they put on it. I like the fact that you get a free one every day that's random, that you don't control, and that you can choose to expend them, and also that they run out of potency. I like the idea that they just kind of, the infusion only lasts for a certain amount of time, you know, and that also limits the feature so it's not abused. Alchemical Servant. Oh, Savant. I was thinking it was the homunculus. Which they've actually added as an infusion rather than something that the alchemist gets. It used to be that the homunculus was something that only alchemists could get. And now it's something that any alchemist can get, which I think is also very, very cool and valid. Yeah, this dog needs to be run out soon. You've developed a masterful command of magical chemicals, enhancing the healing and damage you create through them. Whenever you cast a spell using your alchemist supplies as the spellcasting focus, you gain a bonus to one roll of the spell. The roll must restore hit points or be a damage roll that deals acid, fire, necrotic, or poison. See, it used to just be acid or poison. I'm digging the changes. Really am. And the bonus equals your intelligence modifier from minimum of 1. So whenever you cast, one roll of the spell. So I think that that means if it's a roll to hit or if it's a roll for damage, you can choose one or the other. Oh my gosh. He just chucked it way over here. There he goes. So I think that it is, that's really cool. So it must, oh, or a damage roll. So it's not to hit. So it's like whenever I'm using healing word, I can get a bonus to my healing. Or if I'm using, you know, ray of sun, that's not a spell. Fireball, not a spell that they have either. Here we go. Ray of sick. Yeah, flaming sphere. There you go. Flaming sphere. Even ray of sickness deals necrotic. Scorching ray. There you go. So I think that this is an interesting feature. And I like the idea that it's more advanced and that it's not going to scale much past 5. So it's like, I just heal people better or I damage people a little more. You know, like it's not going to be OP one way or the other. What's up, buddy? You okay? Want to say hello? Want to say hello? Good boy! Phoenix, say hello! And now he's pulling on my shirt. Hey. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'm going to get through this one and then... Hey, why are you always trying... He always tries to chew on my D&D stuff, right? He is a good boy. He always tries to chew on my D&D stuff. Apparently, that's the first thing he does when I leave. He goes after my D&D stuff. He's chewing on books. He's chewing on dice. This dog is a bona fide... a bona fide nerd. He's an e-boy. The cutest e-boy. But yeah, so... we have a 9th level feature called Restorative Reagents. You can incorporate restorative reagents into your work. Halfway to becoming an awoken puppy. I know, he really is. We're working... Well, Sarah's started, like, training him so that he can, like, take himself on walks. You have to teach them multiple commands to get them to a point. An awoken 1/2 level wizard pup. Oh, yeah, here. Let me take him out real fast. Maybe that's all he needs. Maybe he just needs to go to the bathroom. I will be right back. And I will see you in just a second. Okay, so I'm back. Phoenix went outside and found Petey, our neighbor's dog, and decided to just go ham, and they're playing in the backyard and she's watching them. So I have a few minutes here to finish going through this part, and then I'll go back out there and deal with this. So we'll end the stream, but like LR said, we will be playing Dungeons and Dragons at about 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. So I'll finish this up and we'll be back in less than an hour once we finish up to play some Dungeons and Dragons. So restorative agents. Whenever your next creature drinks an experimental elixir you created, they gain temporary hit points equal to 2d6 plus your intelligence modifier. Holy balls, that's awesome. You can cast Lesser Restoration without expending a spell slot and without preparing the spell, provided you use the alchemist supplies as a spellcasting focus. You can do some of the number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. Wow, that's pretty awesome. But once again, this is something 8:30 Eastern Standard. Yeah, 8:30 Eastern Standard, 7:30 Central Standard, and 5:30 Pacific Standard. So, this is really strong. But I do think that 9th level is when you start to get some of your more powerful features. And as the subclass feature goes, this is something that is strong, but it is like Lesser Restoration is good, but only in very specific circumstances. Now, it can be very, very useful or completely pointless. You may need to restore hit points, right? You can't. Not with Lesser Restoration. You know what I mean? So, I do think it's strong. Do not think it's overpowered, though some might disagree. Chemical Mastery. This is the final subclass feature of the Alchemist. You've been exposed to so many chemicals, they pose little risk to you, and you can use them quickly to end certain ailments. You gain resistance to acid and poison damage, and you are immune to the poisoned condition. You can cast Greater Restoration and heal without expending a spell slot, without preparing the spell, and without material components, provided you use your alchemist supplies as spellcasting. Once you cast either spell, you can't cast that spell again until you finish a long rest. So I think that this is probably one of the stronger features. Chemical Mastery they should have added is that you can control your experimental elixir to some extent. I don't know. I feel like adding the temp HP at the 9th level feature is all they needed to do that. Because like, if you think about it, when somebody takes a resilience thing and you're a 9th level, alchemist, they get a +1 to AC for 10 minutes, which is already good. And then boom, here, let's just do it. Let's, for funsies, see how many temp HP you get. Let's say I'm just a super strong alchemist who has a +5. So you get 10 temp HP, and I rolled bad. So you get a +1 to AC and 10 temp HP because you drank a potion that I made. And that can be all the way up to, 17 temp HP if you get really crazy with it, and or roll well. So I do think, personally, I think that it's strong. I don't know if, no, you're fine. See, like, I think that because of that 9th level feature that adds temp HP, I think they don't need to add anything else. Also, poison is one of the least resisted damage types in the game. Also, the immunity to the poison condition is fire. So if anybody gets you only use once a day. First off, heal restores 70 hit points. Greater Restoration can end all of these things, including curses, reduction to ability scores, hit point maximum effects. Only once per day, sure, but you can always heal somebody, and it's a 15th level feature, so it needs to be high. But the big thing right here is the resistance to acid poison with immunity. Temp HP die should scale just a bit. 15th because it's 7th level. Some temps nothing to baddies. Yeah, but also that the HP of your allies is higher. So maybe I could see a world where when you get it, it's 1d, like it's 2d6, and then it maybe twice it scales, so that whenever they take a thing you drink, it's like 2d6, then it's 3d6, then it's 4d6. Because like you said, at 15th level, even 4d6 plus 5, which, let's do this for fun. That's 8, 14, 19. That was 4d6 plus 5. Your chemical mastery, your potions are more potent. I agree. I do think that there is a world where scaling would work in that thing. I would have to test it out. And I'm kind of surprised that there's not a version of that works like that. But once again, if we want to do it, we can just fucking do it because it's D&D and it's flexible enough to allow us to have our own agency. But that's going to be it for me. I love the Alchemist. Next time we come in here and talk, we'll talk about armor, artillerist, and battlesmith. Hopefully my dog won't go freaking nuts. But once again, OGM, Elizabeth, thank you for the follows. I appreciate you. I will try and get my alerts set up correctly. But yes, in 1 hour and 3 minutes, wherever you are, whatever time that means, we'll play some D&D with the likes of LR11, the Mystic Zealot, and Magdor. Great guys. Lots of fun. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, I'm happy to see you all here. This was a lot of fun. I need to make sure I do this at least once a week. Maybe my streams will just be talking about D&D. I've thrown around the idea multiple times of create. Also, look at this background, y'all. And you can make it interactive. Oh, I will drink. Thank you, Anime. But yes, please come join us here. It will be on this channel. It's going to be a lot of fun. We are about to send our players into hell. So, well, maybe. Depends on how fast they take things. But this session, they may end up in the 9 hells. So, we'll see what happens. And I hope to see all of you here. And also, Anime, Wiz, and Weta, please message me. Just create a group chat or something. Message me, and we'll try and figure something out to get you guys playing some D&D. Because I would love to get that orchestrated. So, I hope you all have a wonderful evening / day. And hopefully we'll see you soon. All right. Be kind. Wear a mask. Tell someone you love them. And we will see you very soon. Bye, friends.